Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. We're going to talk about inflation, the PCE report today. Actually, the one that came out the other day, but it's important because it's telling where the Fed is, how they are backed up against a wall. Wall Street and consumers alike are not going to get the rate cut that they need because they were wrong. The Federal Reserve was wrong about the timing in which they should have started to raise interest rates to quell inflation in the beginning. But you have to ask yourself, is this being done on purpose? I have to be honest, I believe it is being done on purpose 100% because I can see what happens when the Fed raises interest rates, that it squeezes the economy. And it was weird back in 2021 when the Fed made that announcement. We're going to get on top of inflation and we'll start about 5 months from now or 4 months later. Why wouldn't the Fed immediately, after receiving reports starting back in August and September of that year prior, when I came out and said, hey, don't worry, lumber prices are going to crash because inflation and so many other things are about to take off, and that's going to be headline news, and people are simply going to slow their spending of lumber. And we saw that price come down. Now, since then, we've seen prices come up, but my point being is that the Fed did not get on top of inflation hard enough and fast enough. And now we have these problems. This story right here is perfect example of this. PCE inflation report, key measure ticks higher for the first time since September. It says an annual inflation measure watched closely by the Federal Reserve crept higher in February, its first rise in 5 months, and a sign the central bank could remain wary about cutting interest rates too soon. Now, we just went over how the Fed was too slow to act in the beginning. Not only too slow in timing to even start raising rates, but they actually rose the rates they should have went up 50 basis points, even 100 basis points at a time to really quell inflation, but they didn't. So here we are now. And they're still toying with this. Why? Because they don't want it to be so obvious that they are the reason the economy is taking a total crap. Okay? The federal government right now, the head, the White House, Joe Biden, does not want to be blamed. But just think of it. I blame Joe Biden. Type 1 if you blame Joe Biden too. It's policies set by the highest level in our government and in our central bank, which are two totally separate entities, right? Central bank is not part of the government. I always have to repeat myself because if anybody new that comes onto this channel may have never realized that. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day where they're like, I don't get into politics. It's just too much. And I say, honestly, I can't be friends with people like that because politics drives our everyday life. And if we're not involved, speaking out, warning other people, teaching other people, because the education system is not teaching our children anything about the real politics behind all the bad things that happen in our country. And they don't teach us anything about our kids, anything about monetary history and monetary policy currently. If people aren't waking other people up, our country is doomed. All right. So now interest rates are the number one driver of our economy. People don't realize that, but when interest rates are super low, that's what's driving the economy. When they get high, that's what smashes the economy. But this is, I'm not joking, and this is not dramatic. This is a slow death of the economy because the Federal Reserve rose rates, and now it's that higher for longer period that I've spoken about so many times in the last couple of years, saying this is what they do. If you go back and look at a chart of the Fed funds rate, they always spike, plateau, and then they drop, and they always drop within 1 quarter of an official announcement of a recession. Everybody wants rates to be low, but nobody, when they start dropping rates, can actually go and get a loan because banks tighten up their lending super gnarly, and then people's credit's already wrecked. Right? Because the data comes out like delinquencies on credit cards have just skyrocketed. Delinquencies on mortgages are skyrocketing. People aren't spending money because they're having to deal with bill collectors. And that is where we are right now. This is what's exciting about this because this shows you there's an opportunity coming and very few people understand it. Okay, so now going on in the story, it says an underlying gauge of price gains dipped but stayed elevated, and household spending surged more than expected, a development that could keep inflation higher for longer. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said last week the central bank would not overreact to disappointing inflation numbers so far this year, at least partially claiming any jitters that could be offset by Friday's report. Well, consumer prices overall increased 2.5% from a year earlier, above the 2.4% rise in January. Okay, so think about where we are. See, Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. He's saying here, we are in the zombie apocalypse. The zombies aren't monsters, they are morons. And you know, honestly, think about this. He's absolutely right. And I believe the definition of a moron to be somebody that can't physically hear the truth because they're too busy spewing their own just garbage based on nothing, not based on facts. How many times have you ran into somebody in the last year, you've said a fact like, hey, this is happening in our government, or hey, this is happening in our monetary system, our economic system, and they go straight to gibberish or they raise their voice? That's a moron. And it's happening all over. So this should get you so pumped. And I'm trying to reach all of the most amazing human beings around the world. Type 2 if you're one of them. And this, it doesn't matter where you are financially. I was having a conversation with a subscriber and becoming a friend of mine just yesterday. And I was asking some questions about his finances. And what I was trying to do is trying to get a baseline of where he's at, right? So that, because we're all at different phases in our life. But when we're awake and we understand the reality, then we go, okay, now this is where you're at. So now we need to do this, 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 and this to get you up here, right? We're all at different phases. There was a time where I had to pay payments on my TV when I was first married. Yes, I went and got one of those 0-interest loans to go and buy a TV. You know, we're all at different phases. I've been through all of these phases, paying off debt, getting into debt. I mean, my debts used to revolve around stereo systems for my vehicles and television sets. I know it sounds disgusting, but it was when I was young and I was just starting out. We're all at different phases. So the great news here is once you start to realize all of this to be true, oh, the Federal Reserve is going to keep squeezing us. And here's the other thing that most people don't understand. See, the Fed got it wrong, okay? But they're doing it on purpose. They know the effects. They're a lot smarter than I am. But the cool thing is none of us have to be that intelligent. We don't have to go to some, 4 or 6 year university and get big degrees in economics to understand what happens with prolonged higher interest rates. It squeezes economies. Here real quick, Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. This is what he says. Until people realize that division is a psychological weapon, they will continue to think with emotion rather than with logic. He is absolutely correct. That is why we're seeing, we're being baited into race wars right now. Here, let me do me a favor right now. Everybody type their ethnic background in right now into this. As a matter of fact, hashtag it. Are you white? Are you African American? Are you Chinese? I want to hear everybody, because right now I can guarantee you there is every single race right now sitting on this live stream. And that's exciting, because what we're doing is we are doing the opposite of what the government wants to do by dividing us and conquering us. We are actually coming together with truth and knowledge, and that equals power. Now, I don't know why, but I feel emboldened to say this. I'm going to speak over this channel. When I say I'm speaking over this channel, I'm speaking over every single person watching this and everyone that's going to watch this later in the day or in the week. You have the power and authority to change your position in life right now. And it starts right now with your tongue. And so what I want you to do is, no matter how, there are people that are very afraid of what's coming, what's already happening in our country and and the world and what's coming. I want you to start speaking positively. I've been speaking positively over the growth of this channel, over the growth of my relationships and my friends, my family. Lately, I've been really trying to speak in one straight higher direction. And it's been tough, but I keep doing it. And God keeps sending me amazing people to come right alongside of me. As a matter of fact, one of my awesome subscribers prayed for me the other day. It was just awesome. Met with him and it's been great. So let's go back into this report. So Fed's screwing up. Government's screwing up. We know that, right? So we know that rates are going to stay higher for longer. I still do believe that the Federal Reserve is going to pull a fast one, and it is a planned event that they're going to pull back rates just a couple of times before the election to make, and I'm not joking, we're talking about morons. All the morons run out and vote for the government because Joe Biden's Bidenomics, Build Back Better, worked. They will believe it, okay? If this happens, if I am correct, because this has happened 4 times since 1972, and they pull back, let's say 25 basis points, because I guarantee you they're not going to do it by much. They're not going to pull it back by much. They're going to do it to deceive you for a couple of months. And then what they're going to do is they're going to snap back, and rates are going to go so high, your mouth will drop. Okay? This isn't the time to be getting into crazy debts. This is the time to be pulling back and saving and getting ready to pounce. Okay? While other influencers are telling you to go buy their mutual funds, going to go and buy and sell homes, whatever you do, please use their link. I want to educate the nations on these cycles. Take advantage of these cycles. And what I'm teaching is a very long game. And most people, and let's just keep using the word morons, and if you guys want to hashtag moron, it'd just be fun. They are very short-term minded. Okay? That's why they fail. If we would have had, think about this, if you would have had this understanding and knowledge when the Fed started raising rates in mid-2003, and then they stopped them like mid-2005, and then they held it for a long time, and you would have seen all of this, how could you have benefited? First off, I guarantee you none of you would have lost your homes because you would have positioned yourself differently. But think about the opportunities you would have been taking advantage of, like I got to, back in 2008 to 2012, actually even beyond, because the trailers really took off for me around that time. And then the crypto, seeing these cycles ahead, you will be able to take so much advantage and we will have so much power. And it is my hope, my dream, that 1 million people in just America alone will side with this Ninja Nation methodology of people that are prepared. They're not scared. They're sitting more in the shadows and ready to pounce on the economy when it's down. And anybody that would, because there's always one total fool that would spew out, I can't believe you'd take advantage of someone's misfortune. That person's a moron, an idiot, because there's no way you can stop it because the government has gotten so big. The Federal Reserve has gotten so big. There's no way of stopping their mouthpiece. I mean, look, there's somebody out there on social media straight lying to you using false data saying the housing market is an all-time high, where I just came out and said, I have just proven to you both the median home price and the average home price are now down 8%. And that is just the beginning. But I said this was going to happen a year and a half ago. And it's not like, hey, the ninja's super smart. I'm a dude with a bro hawk and a dream. I am just a guy. I barely made it through high school. But you don't have to be brilliant to understand these cycles and understand how long they take. But these people are using straight up lies to get you to buy their stuff. They did it in 2007. They did it right before the dot-com bust. And they don't care about you. They don't care. They don't care. They care about their bottom line. In the middle of them selling their mansions on the top of the hill, them buying gold, telling you not to buy it. I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you, you're being lied to. They got big fancy houses, big fancy corporate offices with tons of employees. All these guys, they're on CNBC, they're on Fox. You know what? I ain't gonna quit. And the good news is we've saved every single call, every single video, and there will be a day where it comes out. But I'm trying to attract a humble, meek personality, because that's what a ninja is. That's why I called this channel The Economic Ninja. It's just now that friends and family are starting to realize the truth about me and my family. Because for 23 years, we lived very quietly. My friends and family didn't even know when I went on vacation. They didn't even know after we got back. Wow, thank you, Jonathan, so much for the super chat. This is what he says. This is the last cycle. This cycle ends the dollar. Complete societal collapse ends corrupt bankers, judges, attorneys, tax collectors, feminism, etc., etc. All of those things are killing our country, actually. Prepare, we are in a prison where we are the prisoners and the guards. It's a very interesting comment. Now, I will say that I do not believe the dollar will be gone. The dollar will always be here. It will not be worth what it is tomorrow, as opposed to what people believe it's worth today, right? And that's what we're taking advantage of. Look at all the people that mocked us for buying gold. It's sitting at an all-time high. I would not be surprised if it was well over $2,500 going into the election. Bitcoin will go higher. Silver, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say this right now. Praise God, silver hasn't moved past 25. And I'm saying that because I want more, and I want to take advantage of a couple of tops in gold and in crypto before it takes off. And if you start looking at things like that, when you buy something and you're trying to prepare for the future and it hasn't gone up yet, but you understand the fundamentals and believe in it, and you start to be grateful that it hasn't moved because you can get more, that's when your life is going to change forever. Hey, look, I got to go. I got to make breakfast before everybody takes off today. So I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you later. The Economic Ninja is out.